Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Tuesdays with Dr. T. Today I'm going to talk about what is the problem with gluten and with dairy, as in what's the problem with wheat and dairy, and how these two components of food is really contributing towards autism and the symptoms that your child is having. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. The number one thing that you need to understand is what is gluten and what is casein, okay, and what does they do and why are they a big problem for your child. So first of all, I will be linking research by one doctor, and then it's in Lancet, the Lancet, which is a very well renowned and established journal. Okay, so here's, not all research is worthy of focusing on. You have to understand that, and research in really high quality journals are usually vetted and double checked so many times that we can actually kind of rely on them a little more. Okay, so according to this doctor, he said that what the biggest problem that a lot of the neurologist who's diagnosing autism, and when you are going to the doctor, they are not understanding of these food issues that we're going to talk about. And this researcher is coming out in public and then trying to raise awareness on the connection between the food and autism. Okay, so according to him, what is the reason of the 60%, not 5, not 10, not 15, 60% jump of autism in the present world? That is not because of a better diagnosis system. Okay, many people, the influencers or medical people or neurologists, when you go them, if you ask them, like if you were saying that diet doesn't matter, then why is autism on the rise? When you ask this question to a neurologist, he's gonna say, well, because we have better diagnosis conditions going on, and we diagnose kids early on, and then we have segregated individual diagnoses based on the symptoms of the child, the behavior of the child, and things like that. But they will not, the neurologists, the doctors that you're gonna go, they will not accept about diet. Okay, so here's the thing. According to this author, I'm gonna link this in the description, inshallah. Okay, according to this author, we were not eating meat, fat, sugar 10,000 years ago, thousands of years ago. What we were eating as humans were actually fruits and vegetables and some meat. The meat part was only if somebody was able to kill a buffalo or a deer and things like that. That's when there would be meat, and meat was usually reserved before autumn. Was the time when people would hunt and gather, so that during the winter, when there is no berries and fruits, the human beings will then eat meat that they have been curing and preserving and things like that. But what happened is, with modernization of human beings, of us exploding in population in the millions, now there is a food crisis. Oats have never been human food. Oats was actually for horse, but you are eating oats because you have been fed this thing that oats is a food. So what happens with gluten is wheat, when your child cannot digest. Okay, let's start it more simply. We are spreading our fields, pastures, everything with pesticide, with glyphosates, with steroids, and so many things, antibiotics and so many things, right? So all of these things are going into the soil, going into the food, going into the water, and this food, water, air is coming to our body. These essential antibiotics, glyphosate, and pesticides, all of these things are then attacking the cell wall of the gut lining. So when the gut lining is cracking, it's becoming leaky gut syndrome. So when leaky gut happens, then the child's digestive system is also weakened even more. So in one sense, we as human, we haven't developed the complete digestive process of grains, because grains have always been predominantly well digested by herbivores. You are not a herbivore, neither am I, okay? So we are not digesting the food anyway as much as we could. And if the child on the spectrum have leaky gut, can you imagine what that is doing? So the child is having, let's say, gluten, and the gluten, when not digested well, becomes gluteomorphine. There is also another compound present in grains called gliadin, and that gliadin, when mal-digested, also becomes gliadomorphine. Morphine rings a bell? Morphine is the kind of neurotoxin. It's an opioid. Opioid. I don't know. I'm a pharmacist and I kind of forgot about that opioid thingy. Okay, so our brain has pain receptor centers called opioid receptors, okay? And if we are in pain, those opioid receptor centers seeks endorphin. Endorphin is a pain reliever kind of thing, okay? So when the child is not creating endorphin from the body but has pain, the child is gonna seek refuge to these foods, the milk, the milkshake, the wheat covered chicken nuggets, because in chicken nuggets the difference is the fried dough. The chicken in the chicken nugget is most of the time is not as yummy. The only yummy part is that fried dough, fried batter, okay? And the batter is made of wheat, which is contributing to the gluten, right? Okay, so when the child is eating those gluten, the gluteomorphine and the gliadin becoming gliadomorphine, those are then going to the opioid center and then binding to the centers. And when those centers are binding to it, the child is addicted to that food, number one. And number two, what does opium do? What does neurotoxins do? What does morphine do? How does addicted person behave? Just think and take that ideology and visualize your child and see your child. Is he banging his head? Is he angry? Is he being rude, being mad, melt down, fighting, biting, hitting, and specifically wanting certain food? All of these things, staying awake at night, sleeping in the day, all of these things which we actually know that addicted people do, is happening because of the gliadomorphine and the gluteomorphine from the wheat-based product, from the gluten-based products, and some of the grains as well. Which is why I always talk about going grain-free, because grain-free diet for a certain period of time and then going to gluten-free will actually really heal the gut and then help your child to get rid of the brain fog, to get rid of the struggles that your child is having while your child is trying to process language, process orders, commands, social norms, and all of those things. So apart from the gluten, there is another more culprit that I want to share about, that is casein. So casein is coming from milk. So I get a lot of questions like, Dr. T, do I give camel milk? Because camel milk is better than this milk. Goat milk, this milk and that milk. No animal milk. Why? Animal milks were supposed to be given to animals, just like breast milk was supposed to be given to humans. And your boobies stop producing milk after 2 years. Why? Because your child did not need milk anymore. Milk is the food of younger kids because they don't have teeth enough to digest, to chew, and their digestive system is not strong enough to digest the food. That is why we give them milk-based food. But after the child is 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, they do not need milk actually, okay? So what's happening is we are giving them milk, whatever form, whatever milk that is, cow, goat, camel, there is casein. And this casein, when not digested well, becomes casomorphine. And casomorphine, along with the gluten, gluteomorphine and gliadomorphine, wreaks havoc in the brain, okay? So what is that you have to do? You have to go gluten-free at least, and then casein-free. And if you have watched, I will link it up above and in the description. If you haven't watched my 5 stages to autism diet, then you should watch that video, because in that I have discussed about the 5 stages, and then that has sparked revolution inside inside our community, so much so that this morning I have actually done a 2-hour-long masterclass about the 5 stages with my students, and I am going to be talking more in depth about that in the webinar. I'm going to talk about the webinar in the end. Just stay tuned for that. Okay, so if you haven't seen my last video about the autism diet, the 5 stages, you will know that there is the mindset piece, there is the gluten-free phase, then the grain-free phase, then the heal and seal phase, and then the maintenance phase. So gluten-free phase is actually the safest bet than giving your child rampantly everything. So in the gluten-free, casein-free, GFCF phase, what you are doing is you are avoiding gluten and you are avoiding casein. So casein as in milk product that has not been digested. So for example, ghee, butter, and yogurt is good and it's okay. But some kids, I have seen inside my program that some kids react to even yogurt. So we have to, very, very carefully identify what's going on with the child, what does the child need, and customize the pieces based on that. So like I was saying, when you go to GFCF diet, then what you are essentially doing is you're removing the casein and the gliadomorphine and the, gluteomorphine. And when you remove those things, your child's brain is no longer affected by opiates related products that is gonna affect the child's brain, which is why a lot of the people will DM me saying that, Dr. T, when I have listened to you and I have started the gluten-free, I am seeing so much improvement. And when they shift onto grain-free, they see even more improvements, right? So that is the main purpose for today's video of inspiring you guys to start on the diet change revolution journey, and then to give you understanding of why you should do that thing. Because if I don't teach you why you should essentially not do something, then it will be hard for you to give yourself permission or speak up for yourself with your friends, with your family members, that these are the changes that needs to be done. Because of the food that we are feeding the child, it's actually affecting the child's brain development and brain power. And if your child's brain is not working well, your child, whether autistic or neurotypical, doesn't matter, the child will be struggling. And both you and me, we only want our child to be successful, to be able to understand everything, take part in all sorts of social gatherings and norms and schools and college and universities and all things in between, right? All right, so I was talking about the webinar, right? So the webinar that I have decided is every month starting from October, I am going to make one big event that will be free for all of you to join. And in that, I will be slowly unpacking each pillars, each strategy that I use with my paid students, so that whether you join or not, you still can get some very valuable advices that will help you to propel yourself towards success, and also let you understand how we roll inside the program, how we do things, right? So the first webinar is going to happen on 8th October, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then I will leave the registration link in the description. So register for the webinar. And then it will be about 1.5 hours, in which I am going to talk about making healthy food yummy. Okay, so like I was saying, you have to go gluten-free, you have to go grain-free, and many of you have picky eaters and you are like shit scared, like how am I going to change the diet, because I don't know how to cook well, or maybe whatever I'm cooking my child doesn't like, and all of those things. So I decided it was actually more for my students, but then I was like, Dr. T is feeling generous and I would love to help thousands of parents. And so I have decided to uncover those secrets along with my students to you guys who are my faithful followers and subscribers. So register for the webinar. And in the webinar, I'm going to talk about how to make the autism diet, which is the diet that I follow and I teach and preach, which is how to make the autism diet interesting, tasty, yummy, so that you overcome your fear and can start working on your child's diet starting 8th October. So I will see you in the webinar. Don't forget to register, because it's gonna be a blast of an event. Nothing made by Dr. T is not gonna be over delivered, right? Because that will be event of the month, and I have decided to do such things every month, so that instead of saying the same repetition things, I can call you guys to come on board, join the webinar, learn some secrets of how we do things, and maybe understand a little bit about our programs, so that before you book the clarity call, you have more clarity about my programs and how it works and whether it's going to be a good fit for you or not, rather than going into it waiting for 2-3 months for the call and then coming onto the call and understanding that it's over your budget, or it's such a different change that you are not ready to make the change yet. Yeah, I understand. Everybody has their own path to follow. So once a month webinar will be my way of sharing a lot about how we do things inside the program and how things roll, so that you can A, understand how we do things, B, overcome fears that it is possible for you, and C, if you are contemplating joining us, you will have more information on our programs. If that makes sense, I'll see you inside the webinar. Okay, thank you.